Hey everybody, how y'all doing? It is April 1st, 2020 at the moment. I remember back in the day I used to start my videos by saying, hey everyone, what's going on? And then I'd say the date, and back then it was like 2010. But here we are, 2020. So what's been going on with you guys? Leave a comment down below. Just kidding, I don't fucking care about you. This whole video is about me. I'm going to say the words me, I, myself, and there's probably another one, personal. A lot. I've, I'm, a lot of those. Those are very common words throughout this video, and you can tell by the length of this video that it's very long. And these are the kind that never really went in style, but they're certainly out of style now in 2020. They were kind of out of style in 2015. But, you know, you could get away with them in 2010, which is when I was most active here on YouTube, and when I sort of tried half a little bit and amassed the following that I just lost, or whoever's watching this now. You're probably just lingering residue from back when I was, you know, making stuff on the regular, on the regs, back in 2010. So, this is going to be a very long video about just sort of reminiscing, sort of just like talking about what's happened to me personally over the last, let's see, 8-ish years. I kind of gave up it completely in 2012, and I sort of went off the grid at that point as well. But I have been completely off the grid now for close to 4 months, maybe a little more. And I don't even really talk to anybody anymore. I guess the reason why I'm doing this is because I kind of feel lonely. Very uncommon words for me to use in a sequence like that. I feel lonely. Not sure why. I've always been alone, and I've always kind of enjoyed my space and being away from people who I don't generally like. But I think nowadays, a lot of things are very uncertain for me. There's a very thick cloud of uncertainty. I mean, it's sort of been that way for the last, you know, 10-ish years of my life, but it's I'm wading into the deep waters here, and I'm not sure I know how to swim. I've been an observer of the world for that many years, but I've never actually dived in myself. And I've been sort of the lifeguard, but I've never actually, you know, went headfirst in the water like that. In fact, every time I used to try to dive headfirst in the water, I would, like, fuck it up, and I did a belly flop a couple times. I was like, oh, I'm never doing that again. But that's just because I sucked. It wasn't because of, you know, whatever. What am I talking about? I want to also preface this by saying that I have made many videos like this in the last probably 5 years now, where I just simply did not upload it after I was finished. I was like, okay, and I'm probably never going to upload this. Click, and never heard it again. There's probably at least a dozen of those on my PC somewhere. My foot is cramping the fuck out right now, right when I don't need it to. God damn it. Ugh. Let's try to relax. Anyway, so where do I begin? I guess I can talk. This video is actually very, I guess, special, important to me, because I'm going to be talking a little bit about things that I've probably never told even my closest friends. I'm just going to be kind of wandering around through my own mind for the next probably hour or so. And you're welcome to listen if you want. I know my voice can get a little droning and embarrassing at times, but that's what YouTube's for, right? To drone on and embarrass yourself. So, let's begin. I have been living in the same place now, an apartment with rent, which is kind of a new experience to me. I've been living here for probably close to 7 years, maybe a little less. And I like it here. It's nice. I've gotten accustomed to this place. But the landlord, which I'm, again, not used to having, decided to sell the place. And the person who bought it was like, hey, I'm going to flip this. And to those of you who are uninitiated, flipping something essentially just means buying it low, selling it high. That's really all it is. And so yeah, he was a total dick. It didn't like him one bit. And he sold the place, and now the person who bought it is like, get the fuck out. I want this house. So we have absolutely no choice but to move, because the landlord of... Never mind, I'm not going to talk politics at all here. I'm going to try my hardest. It's going to be hard for me because I've been really deep diving into like political shit the last 5 years. Basically since the 2016 election. I've been kind of hooked in to that whole sphere. But I'm going to try to not talk about that much. It's about just events in my life and sort of reminiscing and just kind of feeling like I'm doing stuff. You can probably tell that I haven't used my voice much in the last, 2 months. I've just sort of been talking to my mom here and there. Let her play Breath of the Wild, which I bought. And I was like, hey, I bought Breath of the Wild. Do you want to play that? And she was hooked on it for close to a month. And then she sort of stopped, and I was like, damn it. Well, at least she got a bit of that going, because my mom used to be a pretty big gamer back in the day. Like, she's the one who got me into games, and she's the one who was always buying, like my very first game was Mario Paint, and I don't think I would have ever played that if my mom wasn't just buying games. Anyway, that's not important. It kind of is important. It's important to me because I wanted her to get a little bit of, she hasn't played games in the last, damn near 10 years. She's just sort of been on Facebook and at her job, and it's like, she doesn't really do anything. And I was like, fuck, she used to like Legend of Zelda. Maybe if I get the new Zelda, she'll play it. And she played it for a month, and she was hooked for a month. But, I mean... she's not like me, where I could play the same fucking game for a year and not really get bored of it. If I really like it, that is. Anyway, not important. Where was I? I don't even remember. Oh yeah, the landlord. So I'm getting kicked out, and got a lot of shit in my closet that I just sort of, I don't use any of my old stuff, so I just sort of shove it in a closet. And every single item that's in that closet is like a flashback memory. I kind of have a very bad long-term memory. I think I've said this in the past, if anybody remembers this from so many years ago. I have a very bad long-term memory. My short-term memory is very, very good, but my long-term memory is very much lacking, and the only way for me to really trigger events from a long time past is to see or hear or smell or touch something from a long time ago that will kind of whoosh, I'm back there and I can remember some shit. So going through that closet, I have to, because we're moving. I got to dig all that shit out of there and put it in new boxes and stuff, because all the old boxes are falling apart. But every single item in there is just a flashback of crazy shit. There's a note that I kept, because I didn't have a phone at the time my grandma passed away, and I still don't have. I have a phone, but I don't use it to text or anything like that. So my mom, whenever she's out and doing stuff and I'm asleep and she needs to let me know, she leaves paper notes for me, which is kind of a old-timey thing. I probably have to explain that to a lot of you fucking Zoomers out there. Sometimes if you want to tell somebody something and you're not around, you gotta leave paper notes. You can't just text them. So, yeah, I'm not a texter with especially my family. Fuck that. And she left a paper note, and it's such a wild thing that she wrote on there that I felt compelled to keep it for as long as I can, because it's such an insane thing that I'll never see again. And it was the note literally read, "Hey, picking out a burial plot for grandma. Be back at 10." Or something like that. It's burial plot for my grandmother. She just left a note saying that. At the time my grandmother passed away. I was like, what the fuck? I have to keep this. That's something I'll never see again. So there's a lot of stuff like that in that closet. So every little thing in there, I'm just like, Jesus. Those are all memories. I'm such a zoned out Zen type moron, where I feel nothing, I think nothing, I just sit at my PC all day, fucking eat stuff, play stuff, and zone out and go to bed. I don't do shit. And it's right around when my PC, my very first PC that I ever bought, that I was gonna do the Skyrim Let's Play on, it was right around when that fucked up. when I kind of stopped living. I stopped living life at that point. I just sort of was like, I felt so powerless at that moment where nothing I did worked, and I tried so long, waited such a long time, put up with so much bullshit. I dove back in the past, even back then, to just like hang on and try to tough it out. And everything I did didn't work. Everything I thought of wouldn't work. Things just kept breaking. Things just, the more I touched stuff, the more it fucked up. And I was just like, I was so confused. Nothing made sense to me. All the wires didn't look like they matched up and all the things. And it's like, I think I just sort of mentally, emotionally, and somewhat even physically just zoned out. And I've been in that state for basically the whole time since. My sister used to tell me that I was actually quite a aggressive kid. My older sister, she used to tell me that I was such an aggressive kid because, like, back then she would always get more attention than me or something like that, and I felt like I had like a little brother complex or something, and I'd always like try to get attention. I'd bother her, and she'd fight back, and I'd cry, and I was like, I don't know, I was a lot more emotive. I was a lot more living. I was a lot more alive back then. Basically, since, I don't know, when I dropped out of school, I've just sort of, I guess the actual terminology people would use is I mellowed out. I really mellowed out, and I just sort of was like, go with the flow, living in the moment type of, boring person that doesn't have any cool stories, doesn't have anything interesting to offer. And, I mean, how many times can you tell the story about dropping out of school before, that's all you have? What the fuck else are you going to talk about? I've done nothing else since then. So, yeah, all those items in my closet, I don't like going through it because it awakens this type of feeling in me that I do my very hardest to just sort of push to the side. And I don't know if I think I just don't like human nature very much. And it's something that I kind of noticed when I was like interacting with people online a lot more than what I am now. Everybody is so like, it's hard for me to even describe. I'm not going to go into this. Fuck this. This is about events that happen and shit. So that PC that I got, I remember playing Tribes Ascend on it, and it was fucking great. And I lived out in the East Coast in a place where I fucking hated it out there. And I hated the people I was living with. I hated that I was nowhere near my family. My grandma was slowly slipping into Alzheimer's, and I talked to her on the phone like maybe once a week, maybe a little less. And that's all I got from my whole family. I didn't talk to my grandpa basically ever. My sister barely called. I didn't talk to my aunt and uncle at all. I didn't talk to my cousins at all because, close-ass family, they don't fucking understand. Oh, I'm getting into it. Stop. Nope. Zip it. I just have a little bit of resentment for my fucking family. That's all. Anyway, so moved out back here. And I lived with my grandparents for a while. What am I talking about? Am I just going to go through every single event that happened from 2012 to now? Maybe. I don't know. Again, this is just sort of wandering around. We'll see where it takes me. Lived with them for quite a while. And I remember my grandmother, she used to take me and my sister for drives all the time. Like, it was actually kind of nice because it was like a daily sort of, okay, let's take a break from everything that I have going on my shitty laptop, and let's just go for a drive and see the world and see the city, see the town, see the place we used to live, see the fields and all that, the mountains, and it was just nice. And my sister would always drone on and on about talking about stories and whatnot, and stories she used to write, and she is currently writing, and I was like, okay, cool, and kind of got me interested in writing too, and I started writing a little bit while I was living with my grandparents, and I kind of gave up on that over time, even though I still think, it's funny, I think about that story that I wrote all the time, like, hey, where do I take this? How does the world still look? What happened here? What happened like 3,000 years ago? What happened 200 years ago? What happens 30 years from now? What happens to the characters? How do they all die? That was my whole premise, is that I wanted to like live out every character's individual life, have them all interconnect with each other somehow, and like just kill them all off, or just like watch them all die and just have a continuous timeline going. It was a weird thing that I do not have even like 5% of the motivation needed to accomplish something like that. But you know, it was what am I sitting on? What the fuck? Ugh. Oh, I'm sitting on the wire to my to my headset. Anyway, yeah, my grandmother used to take us for drives. See, I fucking go on tangents all the time. This is probably why I don't upload anything anymore, because I'm too scatterbrained. I don't have a script. I hate scripting shit. Can't do it. It's not me. Anyway, so my grandmother used to take me and my sister for drives all the time. Older sister. And she would talk and I would talk back and forth, and we'd go up to like really far off mountains and stuff. And it was kind of risky at the time because my grandmother was kind of in Alzheimer's mode at that point. Like she was slowly, you could very easily tell that she was slowly turning into that. And I remember at like one family dinner, I think it was for someone's birthday. It might have actually been my birthday, where afterwards, we were all in the parking lot and my uncle comes up to my mom and they start talking about, okay, what's our contingency plan for my grandma? She's very clearly declining at a much faster rate than we thought. And I was like, oh shit, this is serious. I don't remember anything about the conversation, but I just remember like that feeling of like, oh, whoa, is my grandma actually just going to pass away suddenly? I guess it wouldn't be so sudden because we saw it coming. But then here's the whole point of this story is because I used to live with my grandparents, right? And I used to just sit in my room all day and she'd, you know, hey, you want to go for a drive? Sure, let's go for a drive. And we'd go out and do stuff. But there was this one time where she knocked on my door and immediately walked in, because this is what my grandmother did. I think my mom kind of does that too. My sister does that. My mom is polite. My grandma and my sister knock and then they just walk in. It's like, fucking... Just wait. I haven't even answered you if you're allowed to come in or not. The door's closed for a reason. Anyway, my grandmother knocked and walked in, and she sounded so fucking sad. And she was just like, I just got my driver's license taken away. And this is the moment in time where I had three things all merged at the same time for me at this exact moment. One, the realization that my grandmother is probably going to die soon. Two, my complete misunderstanding of human nature and how I don't get it and how I think it's stupid. And three, just that feeling of like, oh, this is important and I'm going to remember this for the rest of my life. And those are all feelings that I hate having. All three of them. Fuck that. It hurts because I remember the moments that I'll never forget that happened. Every time time doesn't stop, right? So every time I'm going to look back on it, it's going to be like, oh, that was 3 years ago. Oh, that was 6 years ago. Oh, that was 8 years ago. Oh shit, that was 12 years ago. And it just keeps going and going. So I don't like giving myself those moments. But yeah, my grandma was so fucking sad. Like, I've never heard her sound so defeated before. And my misunderstanding of human nature is like, I get that you're sad. I understand that. Why are you telling me? What can I do for you? And that's the whole thing. I just sort of sat there and took it because I don't know what the fuck I'm supposed to do in that situation. I just sat there and I was just like, oh really? And I'd ask something that I always catch myself doing in very serious moments with other people. Like when my grandmother was passing away in the hospital, my mom was fucking livid. She was so upset. And all I could do was just like, oh, really? Oh, basic question A about the situation. Really? Oh, okay. Basic question B about the situation. Did question C ever come up? And I just sort of go on autopilot. And I'm just like, okay, well, this situation makes me horribly uncomfortable. But for some reason, it's not fucking sparking anything emotionally in me. So what do? I just go about, gathering information, I suppose. I don't know. That's all I fucking know how to do, I guess. Hopefully you guys are still around. This is such a weird story. Yeah, so I just don't connect with people like that. Like, this is why I can never like be in a relationship with somebody, because like everything that happens to somebody, they're like, human nature is just like, oh, I have to tell you somebody. Well, who do I tell? The person who's closest to me, the person I'm in a relationship with. And my immediate reaction is, oh, I don't care. I it's like it's I know for a fact that somebody like Petrov, who would hear me tell this story, he would hear that. He would hear my reaction of like, oh, you don't care, huh? You're so fucking edgy. Wow, Slappa, you don't care. You're so edgy. It's the thing is that I'm not actively trying to be like just a dick, just an asshole who doesn't give a shit about anyone else but himself. That's not what I want to be, obviously. Who fucking wants to do that? Like, I just physically cannot connect to anything anyone says. Like, it's such a bad like, and that's the thing. Like, that's why I kind of go through those motions of like asking basic questions and just like, oh, well, I guess I'll just gather information. Because what am I supposed to do? I'm supposed to fucking cry because this shit's happening? Oh no, my grandma's in the hospital. Oh my god, she basically raised me from when I was a kid. I get it. That's how most people are supposed to fucking feel. But it's very hard for me to feel that about certain things. And those, if it happened all of a sudden when I was like, I don't know, 15 years old, and my grandma was still the person that she was, and not the person that she became with the Alzheimer's affecting her brain so much. Because I think the biggest reason why I didn't shed a tear at my grandma's funeral, which I thought I was a fucking monster because of that, for years. I thought I was just like, I am an unfeeling cunt prick of a human being. No one would ever want to even spend an instant of their life with me. So what the look at the way I treated my grandma, who basically raised me. I felt like such a failure at that moment. But like, here's the thing. My grandma raised me, and she was great, and I loved her and everything. The issue was when she started developing Alzheimer's, the person that she was dramatically changed. And I'm talking like her personality was somewhat the same, just sort of more confused and distant. But she was not the same person, right? So how can I feel sad for somebody who died, who to me died 5 years ago? And it was a slow thing. I didn't even notice it happening. So, like, still to this day, I don't think I've ever shed a tear about my grandmother passing. And that's so strange to me. Because I think for, like, 5 seconds, one day I'm going to have to say goodbye to my cat. One day my cat is going to pass away and I'm not going to be able to do anything about it. I'm fucking tearing up right now just talking. Oh, fuck. And it's like, I talk to him, like, at least once a week about, like, hey, man, if there's somehow an afterlife and I'm able to, we both somehow end up there, and I'll try to look for you and shit. It's like, I actually just cried right now talking about that shit. Fuck. It's such a weird disconnect for me that, like, I can cry like a little bitch instantly thinking about my cat passing away. Instantly. But my grandma, who raised me, who loved me probably more than anyone else on this world possibly ever will, she passed away, and I'm just like, rest in peace, Grandma, and let's move on. It's, I don't know. I wonder if I'll upload this. I probably will. I'm going to do everything in my power to just upload it. Just why the fuck not? You have like 1,000 other ones that are just sitting there never uploaded. You make these all the time. Why not just upload them? Anyway, I'm going to try to get back on track. So, once my grandmother passed away, I moved in with my mom here in this apartment. and she bought me a new bed and everything. It was not like a fake fancy bed, but it's a new bed, and the bed that I slept on was something that I had from my childhood, and it gave me such back issues, and it was so small. My feet hung off the end because I'm kind of tall, and it was just shitty. And even to this day, I appreciate this bed so much because I spent like 3 years on that shitty box spring. And this memory foam thing is actually not bad, comparatively. So yeah, I don't know. I don't even know what I'm talking about anymore. Lived here for a while. And I have to be completely honest with you guys. I think this is the main reason why I'm making this whole thing. Is this house, to me, is a representation of my acknowledgement on how zoned out I've been in my life, how little of life I've actually lived, and how little I want to live. No, I'm not saying how little I want to live as in I want to kill myself. Okay, that happens maybe once a year, but that doesn't happen right now because, I don't know, I feel like I'm in a pretty good spot at the moment, at least mentally. I'm just saying, as a human being who millions of years of evolution have taught my bloodline to, procreate and be around others and want to be around others and try new experiences and, be brave and be thoughtful and, have empathy for others and shit. I just simply don't have that. And it's not a choice for me. Maybe it is a choice. Maybe I made some weird sort of fucking mental block that just sort of put a dam in my brain that just blocked off all of those weird things and just like, yeah, I just like being comfy and happy and shit. And I don't know, there's something in me that's like totally wrong. And it's taken me a while to even acknowledge that there was a problem. And I mean, if you talk to me at all and you're like, hey, Slappa, do you have a job yet? I'd be like, no. I did work briefly and I fucking hated it and I quit. That's another story for another time, probably. I don't know if I want to talk about that as the thing. Because what I did sucked. What I did is very easy to make fun of. And what I did was kind of torture in a way. It's sort of like, it sort of is like the, what is that called? The Wheel of Pain from Conan the Barbarian. Where you just fucking, it's literally what I was doing. It was physical labor, but it wasn't torture. But I guess it's modern day torture is what I'm trying to say. Whatever, who cares? Fuck that. Let's not even acknowledge that for now. So I've been living here for a long time. I've been trickling in money and basically not spending it at all for basically as long as I've had this PC. And I think it's the reason why I'm making this is like 5 things at once are all coming together to make me be like, shit, time has passed. And I don't like when time has passed because the first thing is moving here and then moving out of here. We're going to be moving out of here relatively soon. That's the first thing, and I really liked it here. I really, really liked it here. Deepest bathtub I've ever had, and I fucking love it. It's so great. Oh man, never gonna have anything like that ever again, probably. Number 2 is this PC that I have doesn't have a solid state drive, and I've noticed very, very heavily. That's hospital thing. I've noticed very much so in the last few months that basically every problem that I have with my PC could be solved and fixed by just getting a solid state drive, which brings me back to living out east and having a PC where things fucked up and I tried to fix it and I went inside and I messed with the parts and I fucked up the parts and then I fucked up more parts and I ordered more parts and I waited for the parts and I fucked up those parts. So I'm just like, that's the moment where everything died for me. So I'm getting to a point where I might have to like, oh shit. I thought my fucking PC just died in front of me, but it was just my monitor turning off. It scared the shit out of me. Anyway, so that's another thing. It's just whole PC issues are bringing me back. So moving out, seeing all the stuff in my closet brings me back. My PC that I got here brings me back to my PC that I had out east, which brings me back even further. And the third and final icing on the goddamn motherfucking cake is I'm about to have a birthday. Tomorrow, as a matter of fact. In an hour. It's 11 p.m. right now. So in an hour, I will officially be a year older. And this doesn't really matter to me that much because I thought I was this age last year. I honest to God thought that like, oh, well, you know, I'm going to be this age. You probably can do the math if you've been following this channel for a while. I thought I was going to be 1 year older than I was, and then I was like, no, you're actually 1 year younger than that. And I'm like, oh, cool. Great. I don't mind this birthday at all. So I basically just got a free year in my own brain. See, that's how zoned out I was. I just forgot my own age for a long time. And now I know it, and now I'm going to be closer to panic time. Late 20s, my friend. The big one for me was 24. That was the big one where I just like, I want to fucking kill myself. Oh my God. There is a recording on this very hard drive of me just like freaking the fuck out about turning 24. I never showed it to anybody. I never uploaded it. I never did anything like that. But like, that's how much time has passed since I've lived here. Or there's actual recordings of that years and years ago where it's just sitting there and it's never been heard by anybody. It's just a way for me to, you know, unload and get stuff off my chest so I can sleep and relax, you know? That's probably a big reason why I don't upload them, honestly, is because, like, I probably see a lot of embarrassing shit and all this stuff. Like, I cried earlier thinking about my cat passing away. Good God. What a pussy, huh? And, you know, all that embarrassing shit is just like, well, it helped me calm down and it helped me settle my mind down and stop racing a million miles a minute. And since there's embarrassing shit on there and it did its job of helping me calm down, I'm just not going to upload it. I think that's probably the biggest reason why I don't upload them. Maybe. I don't know. So what do I talk about now? It's been about a half hour. Jesus Christ. Is my foot done cramping? Can I lay back down? I don't know. Well, I kind of wanted to talk about streaming a little bit as well. Streaming is such an interesting concept to me. Because in my heart of hearts, I know for a fact that I'd be good at it. And I certainly would try with something like that, where it's like, it's very minimal effort. It doesn't matter what anybody fucking tells you guys. Any streamer who says, oh, it sucks, I have to stream this and that, and just burn them with sick burns on the internet. They're so whiny and shitty and awful. Sitting on your ass doing what you would normally do, but just having your camera turned on, good God, that would be easy. And getting fucking paid for it? Are you kidding me? You're going to whine about that. You're going to complain about how hard it is. You're going to complain about new terms of service is making it difficult for me to whip my titties out. My glasses can only droop down 5 inches on my tits instead of 7. Oh, no. Yeah. That's because they have the right to do that because it's their company and you're using their platform and they are paying you themselves. So shut up and listen to them. That's sort of why I stopped fucking caring about YouTube stuff nowadays. Like, yeah, YouTube sucks. Yeah, YouTube does a million redesigns that nobody asks for, and it's all shitty, and who cares? It's just sort of standard practice for them by this point. I just, it doesn't affect me anymore. It doesn't affect me. I don't use this platform. I've never been given a single cent by this platform. I've never invested much beyond just, like, therapy in this. And, you know, I mean, I use it as my main source of music, but that's about all I do nowadays, and like politics shit. But again, we're not getting into that. I kind of wanted to talk about, I have a decent amount of money now. As a matter of fact, I have more money at this very moment than I've ever had in my entire life. And it's not that much, don't get me wrong. It's like, you know, it's just 4 digits still. But, like, that's more money than I've ever had in my whole life. And it's like I don't spend money because I don't want anything. I don't like going outside, so this coronavirus shit does not affect me whatsoever. It never has, and it probably won't for a while until I actually get it. Quick side note, and this is not a quick side note because I'm going to totally forget what I was talking about before, but can we just, like, shoot everybody on the internet who's like, the current times, the times we live in, the crazy situation, the current situation. Just say the coronavirus pandemic, or the pandemic, or the coronavirus, or if you're being fucking snarky and on the news all the time, COVID-19. Just use the actual name. Don't use some, like, la-di-da, hoity-toity, like, terminology for the times we live in. What, is this gonna fucking go on for another year? It's not. This is just a few months at most. So fucking calm down. The times we live in. I hope everybody's okay out there. In the arms of an angel. Well, I'm just going to sit in my mansion. Oh, I'm so bored. I'm a fucking celebrity. I'm so bored. I hope the pores are doing okay. I'm going to make a video. This situation has pissed me off so much, guys. I don't really want to talk about it because I think if you just say the word coronavirus, it like tags your video or something. I don't know. Who fucking cares? It's not like I'm making a cent off this anyway. It's not like this is... What are they going to do? They're going to call this fake news or some shit? Let's not talk about it. Let's just move on. So, I want to also talk a little bit, since we're talking about sicknesses and shit, I'm going to talk about the worst illness that I ever had. I might have actually uploaded one of these where I talked about this, but I have talked about this in the past, but I never actually... Maybe. I don't fucking know. Maybe I'm not going to talk about that. I had a really bad flu, and it's permanently fucked up my ear. Permanently. And I don't see... It doesn't, like, hurt or anything. It's just annoying. The flu I had in 2017? 2018? I don't know. It's been a while now. It was 2 years ago from January. So I guess 2018. The flu I had then was the worst. The worst flu I've ever had in my life. It sucked. It took me out for 2 weeks. I couldn't breathe or think. I was just a zombie for those 2 weeks. I mean, it's not... I guess I kind of handle those situations a little bit better than most people because it's just sort of how I live my life anyway, where I just don't do anything and I'm just out and I just kind of sit around and sleep. But the flu that I had, I guess like April, about this time last year, double fucked up my ear. So the first flu that I had, I noticed that it started in my throat and it went all the way to my ear and my nose, and it was just a congestion thing for the most part, and I had a headache and all that. It was great. 2 weeks of just hell. But then it went away and I was like, okay, great. But I noticed that like it felt like I still had water in my ear. Like my ear felt like it was popping when I was just swallowing, and I was like, oh, that's weird. And feels like there's water in there. Let me try to get that out or whatever. I went to my doctor. My doctor looked in there and he's like, it looks like there's water or something trapped behind the fold of your ear or something. And I was like, oh, that sucks. Whatever. Not much I can do about it. I'll just let it go away on its own. And it never did. Then I got the flu last year. And I guess it was 3 years ago that I got the original flu. So 2017. And then last year, 2019, around this time, I got another flu. And it sucked. It was not as bad as the other one. Not by a long shot. It lasted about as long, but it wasn't as bad. And I was just coughing a lot with that one. That one sucked. I had a lot of sore throat coughs. Those are the worst, you know. And I noticed at the end of that like my ear, right where my right ear meets my neck, there's like, if I put pressure on that, it kind of hurts. And it still is like that to this day. And it feels like, there's some weird pressure that goes on. It feels like my heartbeat is in my ear when I just kind of press there normally. And sometimes I'll stand up too quick or something. I don't even know when it happens, but sometimes it just feels like the right side of my head is like light, like it's empty, and I can feel my heartbeat in there, and it just feels so odd. And if I bend over and I I do that to like pick up my cat's dish and fill it with water and stuff. Whenever I bend over for that kind of stuff, I'm just like, it feels like a sort of like I I don't even know how to describe it. It's just a weird sort of tension that feels empty. And it's annoying as fuck. And I don't know how to deal with it. I don't know if it's serious. I don't know if I'm going to like lose my hearing in that ear eventually. I don't know. I don't know anything about that. I saw my doctor about it a long time ago. And he said, it's just whatever. There's just water there. It's fine. But since the new flu made it sort of permanent, I'm kind of like, maybe I should get that checked out. But it's not like painful. It's just sort of a thing that I've grown to accept now that I'm getting a little bit older. There's just little tiny things here and there that are annoying about your body. And they're all going to add up eventually. And they're all going to fucking suck all at once. But for now, they're all just like little tiny things. So since I'm me, I'm just like, it's fine. I'll just sit around. It's whatever. I don't know if I got out what I wanted to get out. Did I get out what I wanted to get out? It feels like it. I don't quite feel as trapped as I did when I first started this. Not sure why. My nose is still stuffed up from when I was fucking just sobbing like an idiot. Isn't that great? Slappa-Your-Face crying in a video. Who would have thought they'd see the day? 40 minutes, huh? Is that all I wanted to talk about? I think it is. I mean, there's a lot of things I want to talk about, but it's all sort of disjointed and everywhere. Sort of like this, the way I talk. I don't know. I guess the moral of the story for this is, it doesn't matter who is listening to this. Any one of you. You have a more fulfilling, exciting, and probably much more emotionally connective life than I have had in the last 12 years. Probably more. Over a decade now, I've just sort of been an observer. That's what I've always called myself. I've always called myself an observer. And it's something that I think I do that I don't think a lot of other people do. Where every single second of the day, no matter what it is that I'm doing, I'm always viewing myself, whether it's conscious or subconscious, I'm always viewing myself from a third person. I'm just like, I am my own spirit watching me have a meaningless life. Sometimes I attribute that spirit to like an ancestor from like 500 years ago, looking at what became of his bloodline. Some fucking fat ogre-like Canadian who's just literally wasting life by design. And I'm not sure how I feel about that. What would he say? What do I say? I think that's bad, but what do I do about it? I don't know. Probably why I'm making this. Do you know what I should do about this? I don't like people. Having new experiences is always just more trouble than it's worth. It's a hassle. Staying in contact with people sucks. People don't stay in contact with you, so I don't stay in contact with them. I learned that a long time ago from my WoW friends. All of them were like, they were the closest things I had to friends at that time. And I was like, oh, I dropped out of school and I lost all those friends. But hey, I can continue on the friend thing by just talking to people online. Nope. You're online. Doesn't matter. People online are not your friends. It's just how it is. And I think I'm going to end it there. Maybe. I don't know. Did I cover everything? I made a top 50 games that I've ever played list. It's just sort of sitting there. I might go over that one of these days and actually make a video about it. Like, actually put effort in and, like, maybe even have an overlay. I don't know. Somebody help me install a solid state drive, please, because I'm going to fuck it up and I'm going to break everything, as I always do. The more I try, the more it fucks up. So, if I get a solid state drive, I either need somebody to supervise me doing it, or I just need someone else to straight up do it and put it in. Because it would fix like 99% of the issues my PC has, where it's just slow as fuck loading anything, switching pages, opening new programs, load screens. It's all awful. And a solid state drive would fix all that. I'm 99% sure. But anyway, is that how I'm going to end this video of like deep emotional connective with myself? By talking about, oh, just once I get an SSD in my PC and I could fucking load the video game quicker. Mount and Blade 2 is pretty good. This is like the only game I've bought in the last year. Since Kenshi, essentially. It's pretty good. I like it. But the load screens kill me. Sieges kill me. Loading a city. Oh, fuck. Forget about it. This is why I don't usually do city quests in Mount and Blade 2. It's because to load into a city, to talk to a motherfucker, you have to load into the city to actually stand next to them and talk to them. So the city has to load every time you want to do a quest for them. So I just don't do those half the time. Because fuck that. I'm not loading into a city every single time. It takes like 30 seconds every time just to load into the city. Screw that. Raging about video games. That's my bread and butter. Anyways, hope you found this insightful. I bet you didn't. Hope you liked it. Hope you like me. I still like you. I mean, I never really liked you. I've always put on the big tough front. I've always played hard to get. But I've always liked you. Come on. It's funny. I don't know. Why am I bringing this up? I'm trying to end the video, but I'm going to bring this up anyway. On my phone, I linked my Google account to my just my phone in general. And for whatever reason, whenever I look at my gallery on my phone, there's a separate folder that has like comments from me replying to somebody on a video I made where I'm like overly smug and wordy, and it was like 2008, talking about why I quit school and shit. I don't know where those came from. I don't know why they're saved to my Google account. I don't know why they're saved to my phone of all places. It's just a strange sight. Every time I open my gallery, I just see this extra folder of like a very old meme of stickmen laughing, going hew hew hew, and with red eyes, and like just smug slap your face comments. I don't know. Why did I bring that up at the very end? Who cares? Shut up. Have a good night, everybody. Yeah. Have a good night. I kind of miss this.